What is going on, guys? Can you see me? Can you hear me? It looks like we have a lot of questions already in there, which is good. Anyone else has been sitting there? Anyone else who wants to ask a question? Fire them away. Same setup as normal. We're going to do a draft in a bit. I'm going to join that in a little bit. It's going to be a Best Ball Mania one. So if you want to get out your phones, pull up your laptop, it's going to be Best Ball Mania, 30 seconds per pick. So get ready for that. And when I say join it, that's when you guys can join into it. I'm going to wait just a few seconds for a few more people to join in, and then I'll do the countdown after that. Maybe we'll answer one question or like start one question before we do it. Looks like we got a deep league question. Okay, so 18-team full PPR work league, normal setup. How do you approach this? Drafting 14, hoping for Gibbs. Okay. I'm going to join now. I'm joining now. So in a few seconds, you all join in. Oh, no. I don't think anyone's going to join into this one. It was already quick. But unfortunately, I don't think people can join in. I wanted to get that started because we can kind of answer questions after it, actually. Unfortunately, it was pretty much right away. It's going to be which one? Where's one that's not? I'll find it in a minute. Basically, in deeper leagues, I just don't want to like mess up, right? You don't want to be too aggressive in what is happening here? Did it not? Oh, also, I'm on the clock in, there it is. I'm on the clock in about 1 billion leagues right now. Okay, there we go. That's the team that's going to happen in a second. In deeper leagues, you just don't want to mess up. So you got 18 teams, right? Don't feel like, oh, I'm going to go RB0 and I'm going to draft a lot of wide receivers. I'm going to draft quarterback early, tight end early, and then look at running back, and the top running back is Kevin Harris, right? And you're like, oh no, I'm going to get 0. Also assume we're an 18-team league. Multiple teams are going to hoard quarterback. Teams are going to start hoarding tight ends. Teams are going to start hoarding the running back position. Oh, we did start. Nice. Okay. Oh, with the 8 pick. Beautiful. Team's going to hoard. So positions are going to go away a lot quicker than normal. Just make sure you don't get crushed anywhere. If quarterbacks start really disappearing, don't be like, oh, I don't think it's good value. You got to kind of just grab a quarterback before the top one on the board is like Jameis Winston. You got to grab your tight end. I would say tight end you could probably afford. If you need to throw something away, you could probably throw a tight end away, because once you leave like the top 11, 12, 13, 14 quarterbacks, a lot of them become similar. And so it's like, if you happen to not land a top one, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. You can kind of figure out something later on. Just don't get steamrolled at running back. Try and get a running back. You said you're trying to get Gibbs at 14. I think if you went Gibbs and then you drafted like, a high-end wide receiver after that, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think if you just like make sure you have 2 running backs you at least feel okay about, 2 wide receivers you feel okay about. But if you had to abandon a position, there are a lot of wide receivers that, and this is an obvious choice, there's only 8 top players here. There are a lot of wide receivers that'll go like, as the 90th wide receiver off boards that you could like still be kind of okay with. And so if you had to abandon anything, it probably is wide receiver. Excuse me. Still sick, by the way, or still have like the long COVID. So we're definitely going to cough during this live stream again. But that's my general stance on deeper formats is don't get crushed at anything. Understand tight end, quarterback, people are going to hoard. They're going to go away much more than a 12-team league. If you had to wait for quarterback till the end of the draft, there'll still be some options there. Make sure you don't get like steamrolled, anything. Okay. For our draft, we get the 8 pick. As we know, there's 8 clear top players this season. We just end up getting the 8th one. That is Bijan Robinson. Hero is typically the best from this spot. If it happens that one of Gibbs, Saquon, or JT is there, we can consider it. Typically, I want one of JT or Gibbs, though, at this spot. Minimize, we'll pull that up after. I would typically like one of these 2 if I was going to go double running back early. Their buys do not matter in like a redraft league as much. If I'm taking Bijan and JT as my lead 2 running backs, I can't go with a 3 running back build. And so that is something in the back of your mind. Like, remember, if you take Bijan, take JT, some of the value in taking these 2 running backs early goes away, and that I definitely can't take a 0 at a running back spot in week 12. So If Gibbs is there, I would take him. If not, we'll take our top wide receiver. Our top wide receiver is Drake London. We've pretty much had no decisions here because that is the most obvious choice in the world. Of course, I'm going to stack that, right? Of course, if I drafted Bijan Robinson and Drake London's my top wide receiver, I'm going to add that correlation. A lot of people ask, that's a good segue into a question that's not on the board right now, but gets asked a lot. What do you do with some of these duos, right? Someone said Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson one time. Usually that's only an 8-team league question, but specifically, maybe Tyreek Hill and Achane or Bijan Robinson and London in a redraft league where we're not looking for correlation. It is something I would personally avoid if possible. Now, if you're sitting there with Drake London at that second pick and you're like, man, I think there's a huge cliff into the value of this like next player after that, right? Fine. Just understand the risk. Understand that if Kirk Cousins gets injured, if something happens to this offense where they're just not as good as we think, you are adding a lot of risk. Maybe there's like 4 games this season where the Falcons just don't play that well and they only score 1 touchdown and it's not through Bijan or London. Now your first 2 picks both did bad at the same time. Everyone's going to have variance, but when you take different teams, sometimes your first round pick does great, your second round pick stinks, your third round pick does great, so it doesn't matter if the second round pick stinks. If you correlate the offense, it's going to run into 3, 4, 5 games start a season where they both do bad at the same time, and that can hurt you more than the positive correlation of them hitting. So it's something I avoid, but if you have to do it, if it's clearly the best play, it's not the end of the world to do. Okay. Get some of your actual questions. Assuming running back with the first pick at 103. So assuming you take one of Bijan or Breece at 103. What are your favorite 2 wide receivers of the 2-3 turn between those ones that were listed? Debo, London, Olave, Nico, Kupp, and Waddle. I would say, I just took London. I like London clearly. I would say London and Kupp would be my 2 favorite there. Okay, we're going to be up. I should probably check who Atlanta plays in the playoff weeks, but I'm not going to do that right now because, again, Metcalf is just a clear top player by 6 spots in my rankings, by 7 spots by ADP, or at least by that next player. Yeah, that's a pretty obvious choice for me. I'm going to pull up who Atlanta plays so we actually have that in the back of our minds because we do have a pretty big Atlanta stack, obviously. Atlanta plays the Raiders, the Giants, and the Commanders. Okay, I feel like Commanders is one we can definitely do. Raiders, we could get Myers. We could get Bowers if we wanted to. Giants will probably be one we won't end up with because if we didn't get Malik Neighbors, and did T. Higgins just go 33rd overall? Oh my goodness. T. Higgins flying up boards, but that's because of this whole situation with Jamar Chase. People getting a little hesitant. It's the same thing with Debo. A lot of people start steaming Debo. I've seen people take Debo 11th or 12th overall, which is just nuts to me. That's probably the high end of where he'll be ranked if Ayuk doesn't resign. But you're taking a lot of risks there, taking him that high, hoping Ayuk doesn't sign. Personal take, knowing nothing, no extra information you guys don't know. I still think Ayuk's going to resign with the 49ers. And so I've been drafting a lot of George Pickens around pick 45 because he's fallen a lot. I still think the most likely outcome is he resigns with the 49ers. I think the most likely outcome is that Jamar Chase resigns before or does a new contract before the season starts. His is tough because it's technically he's got 2 years in the deal, and that's asking a lot from management to be yo, give me a new deal 2 years in. But also he's making $4 million this year. That's kind of ridiculous for him. But anyways, I think we're going to see all these situations, but maybe that's just my wishful thinking. If you are drafting this weekend, it is a difficult decision. My take is to still do it because how far into the season can we really expect them to not give these guys contracts when they're huge parts of the team? I just don't see a world where it's 8 weeks into the season and they're finally oh, okay, fine, I'll give you a contract. It just seems ridiculous that they'd wait that long. Hold on, who would we take here? I said I've been getting a lot of Pickens, but I like Pickens at 45, not at 41. I would consider Kelsey here if we can get Kelsey at this pick. Yeah, I kind of want to try and get that positional advantage at tight end. Yeah, let's do Kelsey. I am very cognizant of, I've drafted a decent amount of George Pickens. I keep getting him at 45. Let's wait for all the leagues where he's, commonly available at 45 to get him. Okay, good start. Hero with a Atlanta stack, London, Metcalf, and then we've got Kelsey here. Good value Kelsey. Okay, nice. But yeah, if you're drafting this weekend, it's up to you. I mean, especially with like Chase, right? I mean, if Jefferson's on the board, if Amon-Ra St. Brown is on the board, and you'd be like mortified if Chase missed the first month of the season, just take Jefferson, take Amon-Ra St. Brown over Chase. It's fine. They project similarly. We did a breakdown. It was still pretty close between all of them. I'm fine if you want to do that. Same thing with like Lamb. If you're scared with Lamb, we'll take Tyreek Hill ahead of him. That's totally fine to do. Take London. God, don't take London. Take Bijan, take Breece Hall. Like, you can start pushing them back a little bit. I'm still drafting Ayuk ahead of ADP. Where do you go in this one, by the way? Ayuk went 27th. Yeah. So I've been taking him there. Like, if I was, at 25, 6, 27, 28, 29, I'd take Ayuk in that range every day. Again, I think he signs with 49ers. I think you're just getting value here. Someone asked me to go over my take on Debo if Ayuk resigns. If Ayuk resigns, Ayuk's going to go in this like Nico, Cup's actually getting steamrolled right now, but this like Nico London range at like the mid-second round, he'll go there. Debo will go behind him closer to that like 2-3 turn. If Ayuk leaves, Debo should go at pick like 12, 13, 14. But again, my take right now is I don't think it's going to happen, so that's how I'm treating it in the rankings. Okay. More question here. Oh, for the same situation, talked about before with those players, would you only grab wide receiver, grab one running back, 1 second? So if you start off with a running back at 2, 3, 4, you're taking one of like Breece or Bijan, and you go wide receiver or like at the next pick and you're wondering, should you go wide receiver? Depends on your platform. I've kind of stated that, like, especially on ESPN, I think there's so many values at wide receiver that I personally would probably try and double dip, or not double dip necessarily with 1, 2, but take 2 running backs in the first 3 rounds. So whether that's, Bijan, wide receiver, running back, or if there's a running back first, that just depends on value. If you get to that spot and you're like, Pacheco maybe is the last player in that general tier, and you're like, there's not going to be anyone I like. Oh, we have to make our pick. Take Pacheco, but it's really just based off value. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so we're at 56. That is super interesting to me, taking Dalton. Because I'm not taking a wide receiver. I'm not taking a running back. So I could take Lamar, but I don't have him stacked. Oh, I didn't check the bye week. 12, 6. I kind of want to do it. I feel like that's a unique beginning. And I got them both behind ADP. You never want to do this like double dip one, reaching on both of them. I don't know. Like, I'm sure a decent amount of people will want to do this, but I feel like, Kelsey, Kincaid. My take on the elite tight end, especially in Underdog this season, is like, you've got so many awesome tight ends and extends through the top 7. Really, honestly, the top like 10 have elite upside, but I would say the top 7, it's like, for you to actually think that in 3 consecutive weeks, 15 through 17, we're not going to see multiple nukes. And whether that is one player each week, whether that is a week that is multiple, we know these tight ends are going off at some point. I don't know which one, but one of them's going to. And so I feel like most of my teams just need one of these elite tight ends. What I also think is we're in a weird spot where it's like they're also pretty good values. Like, you didn't spend that crazy of a pick. I still can go hero here. I can still grab 2 solid quarterbacks. Wide receiver, I still have Drake London, DK Metcalf. It's really solid. Like, I still have a solid team. It's not like I went with round 2, 3 tight ends. I feel like because we're able to do that this season, what if Kelsey drops 30 in week 15 and then drops 3 points in the next week and it's Kincaid that goes off? Like, that can absolutely happen. Or maybe just like Kelsey does absolutely nothing in the first 2 weeks with a lower advancement rate, and then he drops 30 in the championship weekend. Like, it's like they're very unique in that aspect that they can like really, really hit and like outscore the next best tight end by like 15 to 20 points. That, I don't know. I feel like double dipping at these elite tight ends doesn't grade out great necessarily, but I feel like I want to do it a lot this year. Especially because, again, if there was a running back I wanted, if there was a tight end I wanted, I'd go for it, but there wasn't. So why not just try to make a really unique build and just crush people at tight end position all year? Okay. Yeah, I've moved. So I've done a little updating in the wide receiver rankings. I wish I could get multiple from this tier. But yeah, Dunze is the top one. Top one that I have. Ridley was a great pick. Deontay was a great pick. Walker was a great pick. None of them are going to be there at my next pick, unfortunately, so I'm just going to go at the top in the rankings. I've wanted to move Odunze up. I just feel like there's a strong chance that by like week 3, he is in all of their 2 wide receiver sets, getting work deep downfield. Like, excuse me. I just think the upside is immense, and I think he's being underrated. I've kind of talked about how my model, it views him as a 3 or 4% worse prospect than Malik Neighbors, but everyone wants to take Malik Neighbors. Like, where did Malik Neighbors go in this draft? Everyone's been taking him in like round 2 recently. Yeah, round 2-3 turn. He went 24th overall. And his quarterback isn't Caleb Williams. It's Daniel Jones. Like, you're telling me Odunze should go this much further as a very similar prospect? Now, I get it that he was like electric and everything, but I don't know. I mean, Odunze is really good. When he starts putting it together, he's going to be awesome. I like his upside a lot. A lot of upside this season. But again, there were so many good picks. Like, all the picks that went after me, like, I wish I could have like traded back and like gotten some value there. Okay. 14-man, 3 wide receiver, half PPR, 7th pick. You're most likely going Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and Jettas. Oh, you're looking at them. Okay. After that, should you reach on running back in round 2 to ensure a quality anchor and pass on London? Again, it always comes down to value. I don't know what running backs are going to be there at your next pick, so I don't really know what the value is. But typically, yeah, if you start off wide receiver there, and you don't like the running backs in round 3, you're going to get to round 4, 5, 6, and be like, oh, I still like all the wide receivers. Now, it's a 3 wide receiver league, so you're still okay being really aggressive at wide receiver, but if you can, I would still leave running back in that second round. 12 team. Full PPR, 1 flex sleeper. You think it's a reach to take ETN at 205. You're stuck with a wide receiver at 108 just because there's a nice wide receiver. I know there's great values, but 205 for ETN feels early. Where is he in my half PPR or full PPR rankings? I have him at 301. So it's not a crazy reach, but I don't think I'd take him at 205. All right, we're going to be up at pick 80. I like James Conner here. If we had a stack, I would also like Kyler. We can get Kyler stacks later, but I like James Conner this season. I think I'm going to do it. Also, sometimes quarterbacks fall. I don't see James Conner fall that much. I like James Conner. So I have not historically been on James Conner. I'm really starting to get the sense like maybe we're over projecting Trey Benson. Like, Benson is not working in like 3rd downs and 2-minute drill. That's been like Carter and Amari DiMercado. What if it's like Benson's the direct backup to James Conner, that one of Carter or DiMercado, whoever they activate, is the more the 3rd down back, and that James Conner's still getting like 17 touches every week in an improved offense as a clear goal line back, and I can get him at pick 80. I don't know. That seems like significant value to me. I don't know. I've been thinking that a lot more. I think that Trey Benson is like the 2025, 2026 replacement. I don't know that he's come for James Conner's job this season unless James Conner gets injured. So warming up a lot to Conner there. We're not going to get Kyler. That's unfortunate. We're not going to take a quarterback because we don't really have. I would take a stack here. Like, if I had Chase, I would take Burrow, but I'm not going to take Burrow naked right at his ADP. I would take Addison. He's been falling a lot, but one report that he's back healthy and he goes way up. Zamir's not bad here. I'm not going to take quarterbacks. So Zamir or Addison? Addison probably helps our team a little bit more. Yeah. I feel like we already have the 2 running backs that we like. I'd love to get more news on Addison, though. If beat reporters could give us a little bit of an indication on exactly how long he's going to be out, really know yet, but yeah, it'd be nice to get a little bit more news there. But yeah, I think he helps our team just a little bit more. I mean, we want to be very wide receiver focused. Feel good about our wide receivers right now. But again, I don't actually know if Addison's going to play the first few weeks of the season. But if he was fully healthy and there was no suspension risk, he'd be going in like the 6th round probably. So we're getting 2 rounds of discount for this uncertainty. Also, I love getting Sam Darnold. So that kind of opens up an out for us to take Sam Darnold as a stacking partner there. Completely forgot who the options were with. Okay. Raiders, Giants, Commanders, which we have not even touched yet. So that's awesome. Okay. What scares me about... Okay, that's not for me. Can someone help you rank Adunze, Hollywood, Rasheed, and Worthy amongst each other in half PPR? That scenario keeps coming up. Okay, what do I have? Adunze, Hollywood, Rasheed Rice, Worthy. Let's see what the rankings say in half PPR. Pretty sure Rice is first. So it is Rasheed Rice, then Worthy, then Adunze. Who's your last player? Then Hollywood, especially with the injury. What's the significance of that framed St. Brown jersey? Just that he's good at football. I'll probably get another one at some point and rotate them. I have the Deontay as well. I don't know. Someone starts breaking out this year. Maybe we'll get their jersey behind us. 3 wide receiver, regularly besides that, full PPR. Auction, so you can be flexible with your roster build. You plan on going with one of those elite wide receivers. What are the names you should target as wide receiver 2 and 3? Okay, if you go with an elite wide receiver, I would love Cup, Nico, Devonta Smith, Metcalf, Pittman, Tank Dell, Pickens if he falls a little bit, Rasheed Rice if he becomes cheap. But that's who I would focus on. And a heavy focus on Cup, Nico, Devonta Smith, Pittman. Trying to find the best value among them for your wide receiver. Oh, and then you're a third wide receiver. Pickens, I said Rasheed Rice, Adunze, Deontay, Godwin, Ridley. That's who I'd focus on at wide receiver after that. Looks like a huge run at running back is happening in this draft right now. Oh my gosh. All the running backs I would have wanted come off the board. So that's awesome. And then Shakir. Dobbs. Easy pick. I think I can get Myers after this. Although a lot of wide receivers, there's a tier break here, so I'm a little nervous. But I think we're going to be good. I think we're going to get Myers at this next pick because it's going to be what? 113. I don't usually see Myers go that early. I guess by ADP there's still enough before him. There's 3 wide receivers. Yeah, I think we'll be good. Yeah, hopefully get Myers. Then we can finally get that Raiders bring back with the Atlanta there. When is long COVID going to go away? It was 3 months last time. It's been 1 month this time. We're still here. That's not a question. What is your take on Aaron Jones and full PPR given his current ADP? I like him. I think he's a quality pick. I do think they like Ty Chandler, and I do actually think Ty Chandler is pretty good. Kene Nwangwu also looks pretty good in camp and preseason. Did someone take him? The heck. That kind of stinks. Usually I'm able to get Myers in this general 112 on range, but someone took him. All right, so we'll take Spears. We'll take Caleb Williams because we can get the stack with Adunze, and we don't have a quarterback yet, so that makes sense for us. Maybe we take Caleb over Spears. Already having the 2 running backs. Yeah, I'd probably take Caleb at this pick. And we don't have any San Fran, right? Yeah. And then note that we will want Cousins, Darnold would be our 2 options after that. Someone took Caleb and Spears? Oh my gosh. I did not think that we'd just go back to back to back all the picks we were going to want. That's not good. Okay. I didn't pick a backup plan. I guess we're going to make sure we don't get Cousins. I guess we just take Lockett because I can't get Love either, so the Wick stack doesn't make any sense for us. That stinks. There's no running back I want. Yeah. Just take our top wide receiver. That's really unfortunate because Myers, Williams, Spears was definitely our top picks there. There's a lot of badges in this draft. What the heck? When are all the other players going to come? All right. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. All right. You guys can still see, but I'll pull up one more so you can see the next round there. Unfortunate. Okay, so yeah, I like Aaron Jones, but again, I think they're going to mix in Ty Chandler. I think Kenny Nwangwu can have a role this season to where I don't think he's going to be like, to close last season, Aaron Jones, season prior where he's like ripping on like 18 to 20 touches. I think they might keep him around 15, which is fine. But definitely it's going to keep him at like running back 2 range. But for where you get him, he's pretty good value still. Let's have a good year, Nick. I hope so. Oh, good draft. Are you in the draft as well? I feel like the draft is going okay. But again, that pick hurt us. That pick hurt my soul, honestly. I don't like taking Lockett. It always feels like a cop-out pick. You're starting to get nervous about Chase. Am I crazy to take A.J. Brown ahead of him at 8? I don't think Chase is going to drop to 8. For that to happen, you're going to need all 3 of the running backs to go, which I guess can happen. But then for people to also take Jefferson and Amon-Ra, I don't know. I wouldn't do it personally. Because there's a big drop in value. If he even signs a couple weeks into the season, because also think about it in like, they're not going to let it go like 10 weeks, right? So it feels like worst case is a month. Let's just say it's a month. It's going to hurt a lot. But you're not going to have buys. You're not going to have many injuries. So if you were ever going to miss a month with Chase, it's the first month of the season. I just don't see it. You're management and you're trying to, you have championship aspirations this season. And you know with 100% certainty you're going to give him a deal anyways. If anything, you do the deal now. I mean, the deal, if you gave him the deal next offseason, it's going to be more. Every year, wide receiver contracts go up in value. I just don't see it. I don't see it happening to where they would actually risk not doing as well in a very difficult division, pushing off something they know is going to happen. I just don't see it. So I'd take him at 8. I'd take him at 8 if he's there. Okay, what are we at? Our boy AD, still available. At 128, we consider that, but we already have 6 receivers. I can't justify taking Trevor Lawrence this season, especially unstacked. I'm not doing that. Okay, but we can take Eckler, and we can get... Eckler and Jerome Ford are very good picks right here. Eckler gets us the stack with Washington, which I believe, that was championship weekend. So that's a good one. I kind of want to go Ford, though. I want to go Ford, then get Eckler our next pick. Maybe we get sniped, but I just feel like Ford's a much better pick given our roster construction right now. Quarterback-wise, we're good. We don't need to touch that. Wide receiver-wise, we missed out on AD. We're not taking another tight end. Yeah. I think I want to go with Ford. Again, like I said, I think he's going to be like the pretty clear lead back for a good chunk of the year. Even if like maybe at the end of the season, he's not as valuable. My hope is that he returns like 7th or 8th round value to start the season, maybe even like 6th round value to start the season. That I'm just ripping, getting a lot of points with him doing well. Connor, Robinson, that even if it's late in the season, he's not performing as well. He gives me enough early in the year where he outperforms his ADP by so much that that's what's catapulting me into, these championship weekends. But yeah, I really want Eckler this next pick. If I don't get Eckler, would I go with the quarterback at 137? I'd probably have to. I might actually have to go with Cousins, though. Would Cousins make it back to me? Would someone take an unstacked Cousins in this wraparound? It would be a team that drafted what? Pitts? Who drafted Pitts? Where's Pitts? Oh, Pitts is here. Okay, so technically, if Cousins survives, which he should, past this team that has Caleb and Goff already, the team that's drafting him would have him uncorrelated. Who's drafting an uncorrelated Kirk Cousins? That doesn't even make sense. I might risk it. I might just not take Cousins, try and get Cousins at 152. That's 10 spots behind his ADP, but if Eckler's taken, I might just take Cousins, but I feel like I want to risk it. Wide receiver, Dotson would also be a good pick for us, but I'm kind of getting queasy about him not surpassing Diami Brown in camp. But he's someone we should consider. I see the upside actually in going Ford Chubb. Because then you're just like, I don't care who does good. Someone do good. I'm just going to lock up, Ford for the early part of the season. Chubb once that happens, right? That actually wouldn't be bad. So he's an option as well. Oh, gosh. I think Eckler makes the most sense, though. Because if this is a shootout, right? If, Bijan is crushing, Drake London is crushing, Eckler's going to have to do something. Or maybe, Eckler scores a receiving touchdown, they're getting up big, and we need Bijan, we need Bijan and London to do something. I just feel like that correlation makes a lot of sense. Plus, we need the running back at this spot. I think it makes sense. I think we got to do it. But yeah, again, I think you can go Ford and Chubb and just lock up so many of the running back points on a good offense at pretty cheap. Okay. We're not going to end up getting him. We're probably not going to get Dotson, but I think we can get Cousins at the next pick. I think we can do it. Okay. You guys can see that now. A lot of questions. My goodness. Let's get some likes up in here. Absolutely, we need to get some likes up in here. 776 unique viewers. 39 likes. Does the early running back rule still apply for Superflex 3 wide receivers? So, no. If you're in a Superflex 3 wide receiver league, you got to be getting those quarterbacks. Wide receiver gains a ton of value because, if you ever weren't to start a quarterback, you'd start a wide receiver. So you could start 4 wide receivers some weeks. If it's a normal flex spot as well, you could start 5 wide receivers that week. So, no, I don't think the early running back. I think I'd lean towards, if there's a good value, doing hero, but RB0. Excuse me. RB0 if you can do that. We're wide receiver stack at 3-4 turn. Who do you like out of everyone? I don't know what that question means. Chase signing. Yeah, I think Chase is going to sign. Nico or Cup? Full PPR. Yeah, it's a very valid question. I have Cup. So Nico does get hurt a little bit in full PPR because he's more that big play guy. He's going to win on efficiency, big plays. He's not going to be someone who's going to rack up a ton of receptions. Cup could have games where he has 10 or 11 receptions. So, yeah, Cup there. In half PPR, had the question been that, I still have Cup, but it's a lot closer. Half PPR, how would you rank London, Olave, Debo, Adams, Ayuk, assuming Ayuk stays, which I'm assuming right now in the rankings, I think. London, Olave, Debo, Adams, Ayuk. Okay. London, Olave, Adams, Ayuk, Debo is how I have it. Keeper league. You have an early pick, 3rd overall. Should you reach for a running back, JT or Barkley because by second round pick, you're going to be between Kamara and James Cook? Yeah. If James Cook and Kamara is your second round pick, yeah, I would be locking up JT or Barkley early. You have AJ Brown, Olave, Debo, and Neighbors in a 10-team full PPR league. You're starting Bijan and Connor at running back. You think getting rid of a wide receiver and upgraded running back, Kirk, Chase, Brown on the bench. I mean, make my pick here, but that's quite a stacked wide receiver room, even in a 10-team league. Cousins still there. It worked. Okay. Something you want to think about, especially on Underdog, to pull off getting 2 players you want. I didn't think anyone was going to go with a naked Cousins. Now, had I passed on him this round, that guy with Pitts might have done it, but yeah, I thought that was a good play by us. So nice job. What is the bye week of Sam Donald? Okay, so we can stack that. We got good value on this Cousins, Bijan, London stack. We have the Eckler bring back over there, so we're good there. I would still like to end this with Sam Darnold. We're not going to take Sam Darnold with the next pick, I don't think, even though I have it ranked as a good pick. I think we're actually pretty clean right now, though. We got 6 wide receivers. I think wide receiver makes sense for us to take with this pick, but we don't have to force it if one's not there. We could take running back. It doesn't look like running back's going to be a good value, but I like Gibson. Oh, Gibson goes. Okay. Running back's not really the spot here, so let's not do that. Pearsall is going to drop a lot, and it's very unfortunate I have a lot of Pearsall. I like pick 140 because his ADP, final ADP, is probably going to be closer to like 160, 165, but we have a little bit of upside if he can put it together late season. We also do have a little mini stack later if we have Wandale. I don't know if I can put myself to take Wandale there. I think we could grab one of Hyatt or Slayton if we wanted to grab a Giants receiver. I might just go with Pearsall. We might just like pentuple down, because I'm on the clock. I'm in close to 100 drafts right now, which is absolutely insane. I'll pull this up. Hold on. I'll pull up the drafts. I'll show you guys in a second. I might be 10xing now. I might be having 50% Pearsall by the end of this if he's actually going down to pick 160. Okay, he goes, so I don't have to take him here. Now I'll take Douglas. It's a good general pick there. Who is running back? Lloyd. I don't want to do Lloyd. Yeah, let's take Douglas and try and get Sam Darnold the next pick. I have 30-something% of him. If we're actually going to be able to get him at pick 165 in a lot of these drafts that I'm in right now, I might just have to go for it. I might just have to be you know what? He is probably not going to do anything for the first month and a half of the season, and Ayuk's probably going to return, so I don't know that he's going to do anything this season. But the stance that I already have on him, my teams need him. My teams don't need him to go off. You pick him at 140 and he does nothing, it's not really that bad. Because also just a good offense. You could just spike at random times, being on a good team. I think I need to just go all in and be if he doesn't work out at 160, it's very unfortunate for the 140 teams. So I'm probably going to end up taking a lot of them at that spot. But yeah, in a redraft league especially, I have him at a spot where you don't need to draft Ricky Pearsall right now. There's so many good picks that are available. At the end of redraft leagues, you're kind of looking at this general range, right here in drafts. For you to go to Pearsall, you don't need to reach for him. That's what I'll say. If he's not the top player in the rankings, don't reach for him just because I like him. I think maybe a name to just keep an eye on because I genuinely don't know if he's going to be active in week 1. If he's not going to practice this week, he's not going to play in the preseason. If they potentially going to keep Ayuk, way worse outcome than we were hoping for. I'd still take him late, but don't reach for him anyway. It looks like we had a super chat, so we got to find that. Okay. Rate your team. All right. 10 team. Tell me the scoring format if you can. AR, we love AR at quarterback. AR quarterback, ETN, I'm assuming Aaron Jones at running back. Chase, Cup, Pittman, Neighbors, Ferguson. Any trades or weaknesses? So the only, obviously, Ferguson's a rock solid tight end. I don't think there's any need to try and upgrade that into the higher end ones. Love Anthony Richardson. No need to do that. Wide receiver core sick, right? Obviously, Chase, Cup, Pittman, Neighbors. That's a ton of upside, right? Running back is obviously your weakest. I have concerns about both of them, right? I kind of talked about the concerns with Aaron Jones being maybe Ty Chandler gets, a consistent role, which I think is going to happen, consistent role. They like Kenny Nwangwu. He's going to play on maybe special teams sometimes. Maybe he mixes in for a few touches here and there. And maybe Aaron Jones is more of a low-end running back too, and you're not pumped about that because the offense obviously isn't going to be insane, right? ETN, I know I sound like a broken record. I do genuinely think there's a chance that Tank Bigsby is a thing this year. I'm going to take Sam Darnold here. And I know that sounds super gross, PPR. Yeah, this is better in PPR too. I know there's a chance that we're just getting lied to and Tank Bigsby's bad. I don't know, man. Like, for how many people have spoken out saying that Tank Bigsby is having such a great camp, way better than last season. The team is behind him. We're getting pretty late, right? It's August 20th. They haven't signed anyone. So, and honestly, I think Dameon Pierce just stinks. So maybe he's crossed off our list of people who can get cut and be added and actually be good. It's seeming like Tank Bigsby's the backup. So I've been taking a lot of him in drafts late. We'll target him here. If he can get more work, maybe Etienne does regress a little bit. And so I'm just saying maybe there's a chance that Etienne's more of a running back 2 and that Aaron Jones is more of a low end 2. And that's a spot you're going to need to go after. So that's the one thing I'd say upgrade. I kind of wouldn't want to use any of Chase, Cup, Pittman, Neighbors because that's such an awesome wide receiver room. But if you've got great value wide receiver behind that and you can trade some like wide receiver, 2 wide receivers, you can trade, always try and do a 2 for 1. Even if it's like one of those running backs plus a wide receiver trying to get an upgrade, I'd maybe look for that. Okay. Do we take Tank here? What's our next pick? Next pick's 200. I don't think he's going to be there at 200, so we might take Tank here. There's no real wide receiver I want. I would consider McMillan. Let's try. I think the draft works out better if we can get McMillan at this pick, Tank at our next one. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to let us get Tank at 200. But we've got 2 picks after this. Part of me wants to go Cousins, Sam, and call it a day. Like, I don't know. It's risky. Like, but I think Sam Darnold is a good enough quarterback, and they don't have anyone behind him because, like, McCarthy again done for the year. I think it's a good enough system, good enough skill players where I think Sam Darnold's actually going to be the quarterback all season. I think he's actually going to produce similar levels to Kirk Cousins, which I know sounds crazy, to where the value in this draft is in him working out, being good enough to be my second quarterback. So I'm not going to take another quarterback. I'm not going to take another tight end. I feel good about Bijan, Connor, Ford, Eckler that I don't know that I need 6 running backs. I think we might go with 1 more running back, 1 more wide receiver. But it depends on these wide receivers. I mean, if we can't get one of like Burton, Khalif Raymond, Trey Tucker, Hyatt, if we can't get one of them, or Slayton either, like that's probably what I'm looking at. If we can't get that, I might just, maybe I'll take 2 running backs, but yeah, I'd really like to get, what's his name? Bigsby at that pick. You got Brooks, so you were hoping he helps towards the end. Oh, yeah. Okay, so Brooks will help. If you, in that team, have Jonathan Brooks, who everyone should be targeting in drafts, that'll really help because, you can start off with, like, Aaron Jones. You can start off with Etienne. Get to a point in the season where, second half of the season, Brooks can be your guy. Yeah, okay, I like that. Where were we before that? We did that one. We did that one. We did that one. How would you rank quarterbacks in half PPR? A half point per completion league, assuming Allen and Mahomes would be first. I'd put that into the detail or the custom rankings. I don't actually know who would come out on top. My guess is that Mahomes would end up first. Let me pull up the quarterback rankings so specifically. I feel like Mahomes would be first. Lamar would drop. Anthony Richardson would drop. Stroud would go up. I think, again, just guessing, it would end up being Mahomes. Hold on, let me make this pick. He is gone. Okay, we can grab Estime. I think he's fine at this spot. Because there's a pretty big drop-off after that running back. There's nothing that I want after Estime. Unless you want to take some shots on Vaki here. But I would probably go with Estime. We know with pretty high certainty that he's going to be in the top 3 rotation. He's probably not going to have a huge role, but he can rack up touchdowns. He can have a week where he does pretty well there. If there's an injury to Javonte Williams, he's locked and loaded. I think he's the best pick. Wide receiver. Okay, we're still looking to go to wide receiver. I think the team's going to work out pretty well. But yeah, It would be Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, maybe Stroud after that, honestly. All right. New question. Debo at 14 is diabolical. Yeah, only that early if Ayuk actually leaves. New to the site, really fantasy football in general. What is the best ball tool on the site to use? What is the best tool on the site to use during the draft? I wouldn't overload yourself during the draft. I would say pre-draft, look at the must-draft players, obviously. Read through that entire article. Those are the players you want and why you want them. Look at the draft strategy tool. That would be a big one. Put in your scoring format. I actually go over this a lot in tomorrow's video for full PPR leagues and then Friday's video for half PPR. But look at that video or look at that app and see where the general ranges are where it's best to be drafting different positions in your format. So if you're in half PPR, full PPR, if you have 2 wide receivers, 3 wide receivers, 1 flex spot, 2 flex spot, put that into it and just kind of see how it's looking. So you kind of know ahead of time and just have a plan for like kind of where you're going to be looking in the draft. I personally, what I said in tomorrow's video is I would save that. So I would go into each position, save that to your phone so that when you're drafting, you're like, okay, my second running back should kind of come in this general range. My third wide receiver should come in this general range, just so that you're not going like too aggressively into any one position. And you're not just like waiting a little bit too long at a spot. But yeah, I would say those two are probably the most important. If you want to look over offensive line rankings, kind of have that in the back of your mind. If you want to go over historical draft strategy results, kind of have that there with some takeaways there. If you go to the league winners data drop down, 2023 league winners, I also went over a lot of takeaways from what we saw from league winners last season. I think super important. So read through that. So I'd say read through that. Read through must draft players is a must. Look at the draft strategy app and save those for your scoring format. And then after that, I would say just familiarize yourself with the rankings. Look at some models if you want to look at like year 2, 3 models, rookie models to kind of have an idea of what rookies and young players you want to be targeting. That's what I would kind of do before you draft. Don't just like be an hour before you draft and just like open up the rankings and be like, all right, let's see what happens, right? Have an idea before you go in. How do you feel about Jacobs? I like him personally. So I think that missing time in camp is important. And that's why I'm backing off Pierce a little bit as well. On Underdog, I probably have to try and go all in if he's going to drop way down in ADP. But missing camp as a rookie is tough. So given that Marshawn Lloyd has missed so much time, pretty sure A.J. Dillon's going to open as a 2. And we know what A.J. Dillon is. So we know that Jacobs would have a strong role in third downs. He would potentially have a 3-down role for a large part of that game. I think the Packers are going to be an awesome offense. I believe their offensive line is ranked pretty well. I can pull up the offensive line rankings. See what that... Oh, I thought I was going to show you guys the... So look at... Okay, this is 16th. They're above average in the rankings. I know 16th would be average, but they're an above average offensive line. So these are all the leagues that I'm on the clock on right now. These are all the leagues that I am currently in a slow draft. Again, it is close to 100 that I'm in right now, which is kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, I'm just always on the clock basically. But yeah, I love Jacobs this season. Okay, a couple more. The throat is dying. I don't know when I'm going to be able to go through these streams without coughing a bunch, but a few more questions and then we'll get out of here. Why is Jamar consistently ranked high? Assuming Jamar Chase here. He's kind of streaky and Burrow can't stay healthy. He and Burrow can't stay healthy. Would you take Bijan Breece? So I did a video talking about him versus Jefferson versus Amon-Ra and how I would take Chase first because when healthy and when Burrow's healthy, he's insane. And the upside is that he has 1,800 yards and 20 touchdowns. Streaky, yes, but by that, you just mean sometimes he has 150 yards and multiple touchdowns, So I'll take that sort of streaky. And we shouldn't be worried about injury risk for Burrow. He should be good to go. He's not risky in the sense that Lamar Jackson and Anthony Richardson and Jane Daniels are going to take some massive hits as runners this season. Burrow's not going to do that. So I think those injuries are more flukes. No, he's awesome. He should be going where he's going. But if you wanted to take Bijan or Brees over, I'm fine doing that. I'm fine literally going McCaffrey and then your favorite between Bijan and Brees. Like, I would take one of them at 2 if you really think locking up the running back has that much value for your league, because maybe you want to attack wide receivers after that. If you draft CMC and London, who'd you take next, Achane or Cup, if there are no good running backs at 310? There are no good running backs at 310. If you draft CMC and London, who would you take? Achane? So we're at, okay. So as your third pick, would you take Achane or Cup? Probably Achane. I'd probably take Achane and CMC and then load wide receiver after that. Pickens going the same ADP as Rice is wild. I mean, theoretically, though, Rice's 80th percentile ceiling is that he's racking up 7-8 receptions every single week, doesn't get suspended, and he's an absolute monster. So he still has a lot of upside, but yeah, I would take Pickens for sure. Pickens is falling a lot, and again, I don't think Ayuk's going to go there anymore, but I could be wrong. Ayuk will be a bust if he goes. Debo is a great pick. Yeah, no, so Ayuk's going to be probably drop into, like, he's probably going to drop like close to a round if he gets traded away, but again, I don't know if it's going to happen, and Debo will drop if there's a trade there. All right, last question. You're in a home league, full PPR. Who would you take 4th overall if the first 3 are CMC, Lamb, and Hill? Personally, I would take Bijan. I know a lot of people like Breece Hall over Bijan full PPR. For that, to me, it comes down to who do you like more. Again, that's my final take on Bijan versus Breece Hall this season is, do you think the Atlanta Falcons offense really gets elevated? Do you think the plays are up, the efficiency is up, the scoring is up? Do you think that's the case? I think you're going with Bijan Robinson. If you are a little bit hesitant with that, then maybe you lean towards Breece Hall. If you're curious, offensive line rankings, the Falcons I have ranked as the 5th best offensive line, and the Jets are 13th. So not a huge deal, but the Atlanta Falcons do have a great offensive line. Again, my take is to go with Bijan, but they're both phenomenal picks. Whichever offense you think does better, I would just go with that player. Okay, we're going to have to end it. After that, give this man a like for his grind. I agree. Let's put the likes. Let's get the likes, at least 8 more, get to 70 likes. And this one, I think you guys are going to love the videos over the next 3 days. So tomorrow we're going over full PPR leagues, optimal strategy for that, given the research I did in the offseason. Thursday is going to be a huge breakdown of 5 mid-round wide receivers that I really like to take. So we're going to want to write them down. And then half PPR optimal strategy on Friday. So stay tuned for those videos. Definitely subscribe if you're new here. I'm pretty sure all of you are already subscribed, but subscribe if you are new here. But definitely pay attention to those videos because they're going to be very important. So until next week, lucky drafting. Good luck to all of you who are going to be drafting this weekend. But I'll catch you guys on the stream next week.